Starting off with what is often a big reason for winning sessions, pocket rockets. In the small blind, facing an open to 20 from middle position, from an aggressive player, B, that puts opponents in some tough spots. Easy 3-bet, I make it 90, and we go heads up to a flop. Good flop for aces, as well as my overall range, since the board is rainbow and unlikely to have any 2 pairs from the villain. I make it 100, which I will do pretty much all my range, besides like complete air like suited aces with hearts. B calls, and the turn is where things get a little bit interesting finally, and it's going to make me go more in depth on this first hand than the other 5. The offsuit 9 is better for the villain's range than mine. Queen 10 is now the nut straight. Mini jacks and 8s now pick up additional outs and straight draws. 2 pair. So in this type of scenario, it's completely fine to check your entire range, I think. But I felt at the table I could balance my overpairs for value with King 10 and Ace 10 suited as semi-bluffs. And I put myself in this situation with a raise to 600, 3x. I'm going to go over the 2 schools of thought when deciding what I should do here, with the first being more GTO. Getting pretty much 3-1 on a call, I should be continuing with 75% of my range in order for B's raise to not be immediately profitable. Assuming I play pocket jacks through aces, jack 9 and 8-9 suited, ace 10, king 10, and even queen 10 suited this way, I need to choose 75% of those to continue with. More showdown type of hands like jack 10 suited or pocket 10s, I would have just check called. And misses like ace king of clubs, I would have just check folded. 18 combos of queens through aces, assuming this, I would always 3-bet those pre-flop out of position, as well as the 3 of pocket jacks. Queen 10 suited, I wouldn't always 3-bet, but maybe around half the time I would. But then post-flop, I'd play the same. So proportionally, that's 2 combos of that. And if I'm 3-betting Queen 10 suited, I'll 3-bet Ace 10 and King 10 suited maybe similarly about half the time. But only continue on the flop and turn if a backdoor flush draw was available on the flop. So 3 combos proportionally of those. Jack 9 and 9-8 suited, not 3-betting those as much with maybe 25% of the time. That makes a total of 27 combinations. 5 of the nuts, 19 of bluff catchers, and 3 of bluffs. Clearly, this strategy was not GTO. I'm not bluffing enough. So unless I 3-bet some offsuit broadways from the small blind pre, I should have been checking a lot of these overpairs. As played, I thought to continue with just all my non-bluffs as only a call to protect my entire range, so not raising jacks or queen 10. But that is continuing a way too high 89% of the time. The river is a king, which looks like it makes the board straightier, but actually doesn't bring any more straights or improves any hand the villain could pretty much have. I face an $1,100 bet and should be either calling or raising 70% of the time now. So about 15 of my now 21 combos. Queen 10, Jack Jack, and King King, all obvious to me, so that makes 8. Queen Queen and Ace Ace both have 6. And 1 of the random 2 pair I decided to 3-bet pre-flop. I think shoving the 3 obvious best hands for value, hopefully against smaller sets and 2 pairs, with Queen Queen as my main bluff with the blockers. I can't bluff all of them, so maybe 2 out of the 6 combos, because the villain would be getting 5-1 if I shoved, so most of my shoves should be for value. So I got 4 combos of queens left, 6 of aces, and 1 2 pair, and need to fold 6 of those. Queens block straight draws and the nuts, so I don't like calling, so that makes 4. And then that leaves folding 2 out of the 6 aces, and always calling with those 2 pairs. This strategy would be, for me at least, incredibly hard to practically implement. Tough spot playing deep stack poker out of position, but from this breakdown, I think I can go away. All right, I'm going to check when a turn hurts my overall range pretty much always, and try to avoid this situation, because I was clearly not playing balanced. I called, which would most likely have been 100% of the time, and not 67% of the time. Luckily, get shown a bluff, in an aggressively, I would say, well-played 9-7 of diamonds. Now the second simplified exploitative breakdown, more of my in-game thought process. I'm at the top of my range pre-flop, obviously, and pretty much on the flop as well. Decently high on the turn. And is this aggressive villain bluffing too much? Perhaps, but I have decent equity against two pairs anyway, and I don't want to fold too much, so I call. The river changes nothing, so I make the call again. Yay, I win. Finally, on to hand number 2 with 7-5 of hearts in the cutoff. Button straddle is on, facing 3 limps. Raising is good to hopefully get the button to fold and get absolute position. Limping is also good to keep the SPR as large as possible. Both trading off with each other. I decide to limp, probably the slightly worse option, and we go to a beautiful looking flop, put out a nice bet, and get raised by J. Call seems clear here, same as on the turn, as well as the river. Thought I could even be beating some value hands, starting with lower flushes, just not this time. A higher flush takes it down, nicely played. Under the gun straddle, and 2 limps to me on the button with ace-queen offsuit. This one definitely is better with lower SPR and not multi-way, so easy 3-bet. I make it 55. Could be bigger, but as played, get 4 callers to jack 3-3, 2 clubs, and I have the ace of trump. J bets 100. I don't think it takes a genius, but this pretty much looks squarely like a jack or clubs. I got an important card, position, getting better than 3-1 on a call, and I got to get J back, so I make the call. Facing a check, I could either bet now or take the free card to improve or bluff on a club river. Either play would work, but I decided to take the latter. The river does indeed come of what we had in plan, so J bets, I raise, he makes the quick fold. These 3 hands were spanned over 2 crazy hot sessions at Central Coast Casino. Not a bad 3 days' work, including my biggest winning session ever at a $7,800 profit. PLO was played in the mixed game, where I got this beauty of a hand, just had to take a picture. 1 out of 20,825 to get dealt 4 of a kind in your hand, just to hit the muck pre-flop. Left the slow area for Christmas and am back in San Diego. It is important to think of what would baby Jesus do on his 2020th birthday. Watch NBA basketball all day is half of that. Then, of course, we can't forget gambling on fantasy sports to try and win thousands of dollars in prizes. I'm a very, very new beginner, but have a couple strategy concepts, but this is my first time playing FanDuel, and it's for entertainment and not to make money. The prizes we see are very, very top-heavy. So going back to the Ricky Bobby strategy.
Don't listen to these people, Ricky. You're a winner. You got the gift. Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Ricky Bobby, today's big winner. A heck of a win for you today, but it seems as if you either win or crash the car trying to win.
Well, Dick, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence. If you ain't first, you're last.
I'm looking for high variability players and players that many of the other entries don't select. I'm basically staying completely away from the biggest matchup of the day, Clippers-Lakers, as I think many entries would pick those players playing in that game. The worst matchups are Rockets-Warriors. Both don't defend much, and the Warriors are really bad. Missed out on the money. Taking a look here at the winning entry, the one Warrior that went off, I didn't play. So my strategy there did not work. And my other strategy of playing players that have a low percentage of being played didn't work either. Many of my players were highly owned, and the Lakers and Clippers players were not. Guess I'm just clicking buttons here for now. Going back to the more luck-based 5-5 no-limit hold'em game at 7 Mile Casino, very familiar place in San Diego. This is not a FanDuel vlog. I decided to limp behind with ace-9 of clubs. Ace-10 is for sure a raise, but similarly to the 7-5 suited hand, it slightly plays better in a deeper SPR and multi-way as well. The blind makes a big raise to 14x, and an action player to my direct right is the only caller. Not a hugely profitable call, but being in position, I would have folded if everybody folded to me. All three of us have 1,000 effective, and we flop as good as possible almost, and face actually a pretty interesting situation. A small bet and a raise. Never folding, of course, but should we just raise and try to fold out and deny equity from better aces like ace-10? Probably won't work against the VIP, but maybe. Or call and keep other flush draws in. I do think the preflop raiser has a better chance of folding weaker aces. Out of position with limited options, I would for sure just ship it in and get it over with. Call would have left a pot-sized bet, but I do think maybe that's slightly better, but still not sure. As played, disappointingly, I take it down, and ace-8 folded. Before you get too excited, this is from a 5-10 PLO game at 7 Mile. Pocket aces is still good, and pocket jacks isn't bad either. I got both of them, but no suits, it's a full rainbow. An action player that mentioned he is from Serbia is in the cutoff. He actually straddled on the button right before this hand. I had aces, got to limp raise and win a good-sized pot on betting on the flop. I try the same here, if it ain't broke. He obliges, and a short stack actually pots it from the small blind. I repot. Both players call. I knew the short stack would. It's actually a huge advantage to be short stacked in PLO, specifically for this situation. One of us could fold our equity, and then the short stack only needs to beat one opponent by the river. Very uncharted territory for me. 70% pot size bet left and out of position in PLO. Flop isn't horrible, but not good either. I got 3 options, so check fold, check call, or ship. New Year's resolution for me, definitely improve my PLO game. I ended up trying to get a free turn and maybe fold if straights become very likely. Going to see my equity here. I am behind against a random 2 pair and have about 33% equity, meaning I need 2 to 1. But in this hand specifically, I had better than that at about 2.4. But if we add the short stack who had kings, I'm down to 25%. I needed 3 to 1. Very close spot with these specific hands if I did an advanced EV calculation because of the side pot and the main pot. Either way, a huge variance play where I did look pretty good, pre-flop at least. Crushing the pocket kings, so for sure got a repot there. Would like the Serbian to fold, but I do still have the most equity with him coming in. Never good, though, to have a 0% equity under your hand with cards to come. I didn't know till the river exactly what I was up against, but pretty much never winning on that run out. No straight for me, this isn't hold'em. Kings wins the main, and the twice as large side pot goes to the Serbian. Last hand of the vlog here, back in the slow area at Outlaws Casino now. Raise Queen Jack suited to 50 to a limp with the button straddle on, which at this casino has to act before the blinds if there's a raise in front. The small blind decides to bump it up to 210. Getting 2 to 1 and in position, a call is reasonable, but this is so often strength that I think a fold's better. Could easily be aces, kings, queens, jacks that just have us crushed. The button will most likely call, which I'm not even really sure if that's better or worse for us. If he went all in, that'd be a disaster. We do get to see a flop, though. I didn't think it was that likely that he would do that, but is a possibility. We do hit with the flush draw and the pre-flop raiser, A, checking. Pretty tempting to just shove and maximize fold equity, but that looks pretty much exactly like a draw. And I would also want to play my entire range similarly. I make the $400 bet which I actually do like because I don't want the button to shove a pocket pair that would fold if I bet, and A could fold hands like ace-king, have the equity to call an all-in by A anyway. We are against pocket queens, looking for help. Pick it up in an up and down straight draw on the turn, and the river brings it in with a 9, and we win with the nut straight. It ain't a poker statistician vlog without some luck box. Flop, we were 39%, turned down to 34% actually, since only one more card to come. River, we get to a full 100%. If we put in a super tight range for the villain, so top set, all over pairs, and some ace-high combo draws, you see we still have 100% equity, and we will apparently still never lose because I guess even this program knows I'm a luck box. Oh no, that's not it. The robots haven't taken over yet. So I got to delete the turn and the river. There we go. 34% is still plenty to call off the all-in, but fold pre, again, seems best. Post-flop, pretty standard on my end. Also a nice play by A with the check. I especially like it three-way, with the button likely shoving lower pairs when checked to. Now here is my graph of December through the 30th, with just one day of results to close out the vlog, the month, the year, and the decade. New Year's Eve, and I'm looking to crack the 20K profit month, which is already guaranteed to be my best one ever. The game, 1-2, PLO. The result, needing to be a profit of at least $407. Uncapped, and I buy in for 1K, covering the table. Game breaks. I cash out for this amount. And by my math, that is indeed more than a $407 profit. Mission accomplished. I shouted out an interview I did in my last vlog, but I did it in a transition, so I thought I would do it again here more clearly, and link that in the description if you are interested. Thank you all, and have a happy new year.